You are listening to 30 Wasted Years by a self-proclaimed, frustrated self-help junkie. If I may paraphrase the great American philosopher Jim Rome, maybe failures should write books about their lives. Then you would know what not to do. After spending 30 years of immersing himself in the industry's books, audios, CDs, and programs and not receiving the success he has dreamed of, Jeff Grundy introduces 30 Wasted Years, a podcasting mastermind. Located on the web at 30wastedyears.com or found in the iTunes Store, these short podcasts may just be the medicine you've been looking for to cure that frustration the self-improvement industry has created in you.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of 30 Wasted Years. This is a podcast where we talk about the self-help industry and try and decide, has the industry let us down, or is it ourselves that have let us down? So let me back up a little. We have found that, according to industry standards, the self-help industry, only 3% of the people actually become successful and achieve the dreams that they really, really desire. Now, a lot of other people do well, but we're talking about really achieving the dreams that are promised to us through all these different self-help programs, whether it be books, CDs, DVDs, online programs, and so forth. So we're trying to find out, why doesn't it work for everyone? Why do some people, and I'm in that group, 30 wasted years of buying program after program after program and book after book and reading them, and I believe I was doing what I was supposed to do and not achieving that incredible success that's promised to us almost on the cover of every book or inside the cover on that first page. So we take a look at it, and not only are we trying to improve ourselves, but I think by improving ourselves, we're helping out our country some too, and the world, because certainly people that become very successful like that are able to help others. I think Zig Ziglar says it, and it's probably one of the most quoted quotes of all time. You can help yourself by helping other people, and I can't believe I'm drawing a blank and can't think of what it is right at the moment. I've probably heard it hundreds of times. But anyways, I think give me a comment, send us a comment, and I'll make sure I get the quote up here right next week. Okay, so what I've been doing is I've been listening to a lot of other podcasts in an effort to improve mine, because unless I can get good at this, the word's not going to get out, and I'm not going to be able to help other people. I mean, pure and simple. There's a lot of frustrated people out there, but if they have no idea of the podcast, never heard of it, and never listened to it, there's no way it can help them. So one of the things I need to do is improve the podcast, so other people recommend it and start spreading by word of mouth. It is growing every week, but still, I need to become a better marketer. And not only a better marketer, but doing a better job. So I've been listening to a lot of other podcasts. And one of the things I see, and not just with podcasts, with speakers that I listen to, is you have to be funny and do, they do jokes and things like that. And I'm just not a funny person. Probably way too serious, and maybe that's one of my problems. So I went and looked up self-help jokes, and I'm going to read a few jokes to you. And I think by being funnier, if I even can be funnier, and you may think this is really really stupid and just shaking your head out there. But that's cool too. If I'm getting you involved, I'm getting you to shake your head. At least that's a start. But two things came out of that. And one is that, being funny isn't something I normally do, but maybe that's something I need to learn to do. And for those of you that are stuck in a rut right now and want to be more successful and know the information, but just aren't doing something you know you should be doing, well, maybe this is a key to get you started to doing that. If you can see that I'm going to try and be funny, maybe you can pick up the phone and call someone or meet someone or whatever it is that you need to do to improve yourself. So, and the second thing is I started looking for jokes. Like I said, I Googled it. I started reading joke after joke after joke. And nothing seemed perfect. And there I was trying to be perfect. And I'm realizing that's a huge mistake. Because if you try and be perfect, you're never going to go anywhere. You're just going to stall. I heard someone say just the other day, it's much better to be an imperfect success than a perfect mediocrity. Mediocrity, is that how you say it? So you got to try. You just got to get out there and do it. And if it's not perfect, that's fine. And it took me a while to realize that. So here I came up. I have these, there's 10 little jokes. They call them puns. And I'm sorry I don't know what website I got them off of. I'll get that next week, because I certainly want to give these people credit. Here they go. And I hope at least it makes you smile. Two antennas met on a roof, fell in love, and got married. The ceremony wasn't much, but the reception was excellent. Second, a set of jump leads walked into a bar. The bartender says, "I'll serve you, but don't start anything." 3, 2 peanuts walk into a bar, and one was assaulted. You might have to read that one. It's and insulted. A man walks into a bar with a slab of asphalt under his arm and says, "A beer, please, and one for the road." 2 cannibals are eating a clown. One says to the other, "Does this taste funny to you?" "Doc, I can't." Let's see. 2 cows are standing next to each other in a field. Daisy says to Dolly, "I was artificially inseminated this morning." "I don't believe you," says Dolly. "It's true. No bull." exclaimed Stacy. Okay, I think that's enough of them. So, did you smile? I mean, if I could get you just to smile once, that was a huge success. I hope most of you didn't turn it off. But I'm going to get better. I'm going to work at it. I'm going to try and be a little funny and get some stories for you and make it more enjoyable. And I know I've been talking about this for a while, but the point is, I want you to figure out what it is that you need to do to improve, to be more successful at what you're doing. And if you don't know what it is you need to be doing, that's what you need to be working on, is figuring out what you need to be doing. I certainly don't know how to tell you to do that. I mean, there's hundreds of other people out there that will tell you how to do that. But I know enough to know that if you don't have any desire, if you're just wandering around, it's that same old thing. You're floating in the ocean in a boat with nowhere to go. You're never going to get there if you don't know where you're going. And the second point was the perfection. Just go out and try, do it. So what's the worst to happen? A few hundred people are shaking their head at me tonight and saying, what a fool. But, so maybe next week they'll say, hey, you got a little better, and a little better, and a little better. So interaction is really important. And if I made a few of you smile, well, great. That was a huge accomplishment, because in these days, it's so hard to get somebody to smile. I mean, things are so tough. Okay, we're going to go on to our next point, which is time management. I was reading something from Alex Mendoza, and I don't know if any of you know who he is. He's a huge marketer on the internet. He's a business consultant also. Really, really smart guy. He's done really well. And he talks about time management is your way to success. And it's something we need to think about. That maybe we're doing the right things, but our time management is just so far off. That's why we're not accomplishing anything. And I think there's a huge, huge philosophy here that needs to be looked at, that if you want to do something, get something accomplished, you have to have the proper amount of time put into it to do it. And I know some people work 10, 12, 14 hours a day, and it's really tough to do anything else. And there's other people that are sick and just don't feel like it. I've been in that boat a bit lately. That, you just don't feel right, and you just don't want to do anything. You don't want to get up, and that motivation is tough. Or other people are in a really bad environment, and finding the time to do anything is really difficult because everyone else is putting them down, and you just got to go somewhere else to get away from them. So I want you to look at it. I'm not going to read what he has to say right now. We can do that on another one, another podcast. But the idea, I think, is a seed, and I really want to hear some people's comments on this one. I think it's an important one, because it's not one that a lot of the self-help people talk about. They all mention a little bit, but I don't know how many people really focus on it, that it's the actual management of your time that's going to make it or not make it, because I think it doesn't matter how excited you are about something. If you don't put in the time, you don't have the time, can't find the time to do it, it's never going to happen. Yet, one thing that he says, and many other people say, is to write down a list of things you have to do the next day, the night before. That way when you get up, you can hit the ground running, and you're not sitting at your desk or wherever it is you are trying to figure out what I need to do. You already have a list, and you start working on the list. And I think that's a big help. And maybe we need to just start with a list for the next year of 2 or 3 things that you want to accomplish. What is it that's going to get you more successful? And then work back from there. Something to think about. I'd love to hear your comments on it. I'm going to walk over here and get my book and read the quote. Here we go. We're back. We're going to open the book up. It comes to goals. We'll pick Robert Collier. This is a short one. The first essential, of course, is to know what you want. Once again, we pick one we're talking about. Amazing. Unless this whole book is just full of things we're talking about. All right, Robert Collier. The first essential, of course, is to know what you want. So there it is. First thing is, what's going to get you excited? I found something on the internet that I really wanted to try out, and I got so excited I stayed up for hours the other night doing it. And I think for all of you, you'll know when you found what you want to do, because you'll stay up, you'll get up earlier, you'll start reading about it, thinking about it all the time. All right, thank you so much. I hope we're headed in the right direction. I hope you like my jokes. If not, maybe some of you could put some comments in of a good joke that I can read. That would help a lot, huh? All right, thank you all, and you all have a great day. Oh, don't forget, we're putting these out now every Tuesday and Friday morning. That's every Tuesday and Friday morning. And please stop by the website and check out some of the sponsors. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this edition of 30 Wasted Years. Please join in and become part of the mastermind by leaving your comments and questions at 30wastedyears.com. You can email us at jeff@30wastedyears.com or call toll-free 866-647-1848. Skywriting and yelling from the tops of tall buildings are also accepted forms of communicating, of course, depending on the wind direction and local laws. We look forward to you being part of the next 30 Wasted Years podcast, and let's get together and put an end to those wasted years.